You're listening to the Para House Entertainment Network. Come join us as we take you deep into the fire to the paranormal realms of hauntings, UFOs, ETs, alien abductions, strange creatures, and the vastness of universal consciousness as we continue to seek what is not supposed to exist as we search for the truth that only comes from going into the fire.
Would help if I came off of mute, wouldn't it? Hey, how are you doing, everyone? This is Robert Riggy. I'm excited for tonight's show. Unfortunately, Bear will not be joining us tonight. He is still feeling under the weather. Yes, Joanne, I see that I had my mute button on. Can't do it unless Bear's here. Hopefully, we got all the bugs worked out now. Shout out to our audience tonight for joining us. Thank you very much. Tanya's going to be watching the comments for me. Robert, let's talk a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your backstory and your
my journey within the paranormal field, as well as my journey within the psychology field. Okay. And thank you again for having me on. I appreciate that so much. I really do. Bear, love you, buddy. I'm a psychic medium, as well as I have a forensic psychology degree and clinical social work degree from the University of Florida. And for 30 plus years, I was a criminal profiler. You can get into more of that later. My spirituality is based upon my Roman Catholicism. I do not try to convert anyone to any faith, to Judaism, Islam, or anything like that. But for me personally, my Roman Catholicism is very, very important to me. Very, very important. Like I said, I do a lot of things within the field. I have been involved in 2 exorcisms that were sanctioned by the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Chicago, and we can go into that more later in more detail. Also, that I am involved in a hospice for children, and this hospice calls me in, and they know what I do. They know me personally, of course, and so they call me in within hours of this wonderful, beautiful child who is going to leave this earthly dimension for the heavenly dimension. And so I go in there and we talk about angels and different things, and we can go in more detail about that. But just being with these children in their last moments of life, to hold them and see their parents loving on them. By the time the parents call me, they are emotionally drained, physically drained, spiritually drained to see their child. And in many cases, this is the only child that they are able to have. So they see their child dying in front of their eyes. That is very, very, it's heart-wrenching. But I go there because I believe that I was created to serve in many, many ways. I also mentor children who I will call children of the paranormal. And these children are wonderful and loving. And when I first experienced anything in the paranormal field, I was 4 years old, and I'll be 67 in November. So I know what these children are going through. Of no one believes them, and all sorts of things. They do horrible in school and other things like that. And so we can talk about those children because it's very, very important. And I know Billy and I had talked earlier about these children, and they have a story to tell also. I also in 1980, I went to my psychology department head and asked them if they would think or would consider about a meeting or having an interview with Ted Bundy on death row. And so the University of Florida is in Gainesville, and where Ted Bundy was an hour north of there. Anyhow, letters and stuff like that, and finally, Mr. Bundy agreed, and his lawyer agreed, and so did the prison system agree. Okay, everybody knows Ted Bundy and what he did, but they do not know the dark side, not the heinous murderous side, but him playing with the Ouija board, calling demons, and those types of things. It is incredible. And I do some remote viewing. Also, I'm a practitioner also of past life regression. We can go into that. And so my life has been a journey of service. It has been a journey of sorrow. It has been a journey of love. It has been a journey of learning every day of my life. And at this moment, I am in Taos, New Mexico, and meeting with these wonderful, wonderful shamans, Navajo as well as Hopi, and hearing the ancient stories of their spirituality and of their tradition. They taught me about skinwalkers, Bigfoot, and those types of things. Also, that, like I said, I do a lot of volunteer work all over the country. And how I got to New Mexico was that since January 1st until the third week in May, I was in Gallup, New Mexico, at a homeless shelter and soup kitchen for our Navajo brothers and sisters or anyone who needed a meal. And that was incredible. So I go all over the country to help people, to help those in need. I believe that puts us where we need to be in any given time. My motto is always that we are spiritual beings in a physical body. This is just a shell. This is just a shell, you know. I must
We're always
also say
moving
that,
forward.
yeah. I must also say that being gay does not define who I am. My heart does. Being a psychic medium does not define me who I am, but my heart does. Okay? So
Right.
all those other things are labels. Like we're labeled for everything, and but my heart defines me. So those are just some of the things that I've done in my, I'll be 67 in November, and I still have several things left on my bucket list. I don't know if I will accomplish them. If I do, great, and if I don't, the greatest journey I will ever be on is when I leave this earthly dimension. That was the greatest adventure, the greatest journey, the greatest experience that I will ever have, that any of us can ever have, you know?
Right.
Yep. Well, for those of us in the audience that are wondering, you say that you're a psychic medium. You discovered the paranormal at what age?
4 years old, and let me tell you about that, okay? I woke up during the night. I'm from Peoria, Illinois. I woke up during the night and I saw an apparition. Back then I didn't know what the word apparition was from anything. But I saw this person and I recognized his face. And of course, coming from the land of Lincoln, who else was it but Abraham Lincoln? It was incredible. It was incredible that I saw that. And I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared at all. I wasn't. I went and I saw him. It just seemed like forever, but it was only seconds probably, right? And he smiled at me, and that was
Mm-hmm.
it. So I went into my mom's room. My dad was the night shift. I went into my mom's room and I woke her up, and she thought I was sick or whatever. And I said, "Oh, I saw something. I saw something," and and so I explained it to her and whatever. And then the next day, she took me to my Italian, 'cause I'm Italian and Spanish. And so anyhow, so she took me to my Italian nonna, my Italian grandmother, and then she took me to a white witch. And even before I got there, that she was sensing that I was coming, and she had no idea. My grandmother said that she would not contact her. But anyhow, the minute she put her hand on my head, I felt her power, and she felt mine. And
Mm-hmm.
she, and she, how older woman to just do my fat little Italian Spanish cheeks and everything. And to this child in Italian, she said, "This child is going to do so much good to other people, and he is so talented." And the rest is history, as they say, you know. And but it's just gotten stronger over the years. But again, people have to realize that I was born in 1954, so I was 4 years old, you know, and so my parents had to be very, very careful because I could have been taken away. I could have been taken away by the authorities, put into a psychiatric hospital, all sorts of things, you know. So it was kind of under wraps. So working with these children, assisting these children in the paranormal was very, very important to me. Very, very important, because I knew what they were going through. I began to stutter terribly. Oh my gosh. Because I was seeing spirits. I was seeing spirits in the classroom, and I went to a Catholic school. These nuns beat the hell out of us at best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and for me to say, "Oh, sister, there's a spirit over there," she would have said it was the Holy Spirit. Well, I don't think so. But anyhow, and so I had to be very quiet. Didn't know who to go to except for my Italian relatives and my Spanish relatives understood. But again, that was a different time. You know? So it was very important for me to help children to understand their abilities and their gifts and their talents.
Robert, I got to ask you real quick. Are you on your phone?
Yeah, I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I think you keep covering up your mic with your hand.
Okay. Oh, how's that? Is that better?
That's a lot better. Yes, we can hear you. It keeps cutting in and out a little bit.
Okay. And the weather here, it's raining here right now in Dallas. And also there's mountains around us too. And also those damn pesky spirits. I don't know how many times I've done these podcasts, and these damn pesky spirits don't want me to go on.
Yeah, it's like the kids, they always got to have your attention right in the middle of that phone call or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, amen. They do. And so a lot of times I will hear static. Sometimes doing podcasts, I will hear a growl. I will hear a growl. I will hear all sorts of things, you know. But anyhow, let me tell you about the psychic part of me. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. The psychic part of me sees pieces of puzzle. You know those little kids' blocks that have the alphabet on them? We've all seen them, right?
Mhm.
Anyhow, so I'm talking to Billy and Tanya. So right now there's a B and there's a T. I know that Tanya is a woman because of the name, but also because there's lace on it. Okay. And so I see blocks. I see T and I see B. Okay. I know that you're alive because the block is standing upright, right?
Mhm.
If you were deceased, you would be on your side. The block would be on its side. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I have to put these pieces of puzzle together. I have two angels that we can go into some other time, whenever. But anyhow, one of them is a little angel called Angelina, and there's a whole backstory. I am alive to talk to everyone today because of Angelina. She gave up her life after being born and only living 4 hours. And there's a whole another story about that. And so, and also Raphael, the archangel, because I'm adopted and my birth name was Raphael. And when I was adopted, they changed that name to Robert, which I've never connected with. I don't like the name Robert, nothing like that. There's no connection but Raphael. Anyhow, so I have to put these pieces of puzzle together, right? And if I get it wrong sometimes, Angelina, this precious angel of mine, will pat me on the head, or she'll caress my head, my face, or she'll giggle in my ear. And that giggle is like, "Robert, are you that damn dumb? Don't you get it?" Don't you get it? And it's just the fact, Tanya and Billy and our paranormal brothers and sisters who are listening and watching to this, that sometimes in our lives, sometimes things are so damn obvious we don't see them, until somebody else brings it up or whatever. And so anyhow, she'll giggle in my ear, and then it all kind of like comes together. So that's the psychic part of me. Okay. I am, and within that psychic field that I sense a lot of things. I feel a lot of things. I feel people's anger, frustration, and those types of things. So I've learned how to turn it on and off. I learned how to turn it off a long time ago, and that's why I am with these children of the paranormal to help them to turn it on and off. And there's some exercises that I've taught them, and we can go into that more later. But anyhow, so that's the psychic part of me. Now the mediumship, does the dead talk to me? Yes. Do I hear the dead? Yes. With my ears? Yes. Do I see dead people? When I was younger, spirits all the time. It has changed. It has become more dramatic now than it was before. A perfect example, back home in Peoria, Illinois, where I'm from, my room is like a cathedral. My bedroom is like a cathedral, lots of white candles and all that stuff, and my stage is going and everything, or my incense in church. Anyhow, one night, and I always let the spirits come in, and one time I was real damn tired. I was tired. And I said, okay, you can come in, any spirit, and I opened up. I opened up to the spirit. And I said, you can come in here, but I want it quiet. There's no farting, no belching, no making sounds, nothing like that. And all at once I heard audibly with my ear, shit. I said, everybody out. I said, everybody out, get out. Get out. In Italian, we would say, vacasa, 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 get out of here. You know? And they all left. And it was quiet. And I turned it off, and then I went to sleep. One night, and a lot of other times too, this little boy, I heard with my audible ears, I'm lost. I can't find my mom or my dad. I'm lost. I need help. And I sensed and I felt it besides hearing, and then later on I did see Matthew. His name is Matthew. He was 5 years old, and he was dressed in clothing from the early 1900s. So this poor child had been just wandering the earth all this time trying to find his parents. By the grace of God, that he found a place to come here for refuge.
Right.
You know, I believe that God puts us where we need to be at any given time for that specific person. You know, I don't believe in coincidences, nothing like that at all. I don't believe anything by chance at all. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen for a reason.
Right.
So Matthew came in, and I told him I would help him. And he again said, where are my mom and dad? And I said, they're in heaven. I said, tomorrow morning, we're going to go to church. And because I'm Roman Catholic, and so I try to go to mass every day for my own spirituality. It doesn't make me, but all of us fall short of the glory of God. I'm not perfect by no means. Good God, I'm not. I'm not. And so I told Matthew we're going to go to church. And I said, over there's a recliner, and I have a huge recliner in my room. It has a lot of stuffed animals and blankets and everything. And so I said, Matthew, I want you to sleep there. And incredibly, he touched my hand, and I felt that little hand.
Mm-hmm.
He was shaking. He was scared. And so I said, here's a little stuffed animal. I had a little child's blanket, and I covered him up. I said, tomorrow morning, you're going to be with your parents. And then all at once, I heard him snore with my ears, audibly. I heard him snore like a little kid. And so Matthew went to sleep. And at times, there are other spirits in my room too. Child spirits will come and ask for help. I've seen apparitions of adults looking for people wanting help and stuff like that. And so that's very important to me. It's very important for me to help the spirits who are wandering this earth, my God, for centuries, but it is also important for me to help the living and what they're going through. And it's very, very important. My brothers and sisters in the paranormal field, that I usually will get called in. Families will call me when they have been to other people, psychic mediums, empaths, intuitive, sensitive, whatever you want to call them. God bless them. But they were no help at all, And I must say, I must call out these damn psychic mediums, intuitives, and sensitives that are scammers. Nothing pisses me off than to have someone milk a family that is in such need emotionally to get answers. These families have told me horrible stories about, oh, well, they called someone and then, it was like $50 here, then they had to come back another time and it was another $50 and whatever like that, right? And I always when I do a lot of seminars and private and public events and whatever, and I always bring an onion with me because, as you know, an onion has many layers. So we have to get to the core of the situation to find out what's going on paranormally. Okay. In my experience for the past 60 some years of my life, there's always an emotional side, a psychological side, okay, a lot of secrets and those types of things within the family itself. And so all those have to come towards the light. I always say, get out of the closet. Hell, I came out of the gay closet or the straight closet when I was 18 years old into the gay world, okay? But there's a lot of our brothers and sisters who are in the closet because they're afraid to contact someone who can help them,
Right.
So I am there to help them in what they need. And again, when I meet with someone in a residential setting and with the family, it's just not one time. No way. It's numerous times. It's many times.
Right.
Because you have to have that trust. Okay, you have to have that trust. You have to build that trust. You have to gain that trust, and it takes time. Also, I must say that we must always validate what the family is experiencing. Okay, even if there's no even if there's no evidence. I'm sorry. Even if there's no evidence, that doesn't mean that's not happening.
That's right.
We must validate what they're experiencing because it is their experience, not ours. No, it's not. So we must validate. It's just like when somebody comes to me in my private practice, I validate what they are saying because that is their experience. That is their emotion. It's not mine. I'm there to assist them on their journey. The private practice as well is a paranormal journey. Okay. I'm there to take their hand. I'm there to walk with them. I will give them options. A lot of people will say, well, Robert, what do I need to do? I said, listen, it is your decision. I am here to help you on those paths. Here are 2 paths that you can take, and it's up to you. If you don't want to take those paths, God bless you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these are the options. These are the paths, and I will assist you. But again, it is your decision. When I hear of psychic mediums say, well, I've told them what to do. No. What you do is give them options, plan A and plan B. Okay. And that works beautifully because I want to empower them. I want them to have a sense of control, not me. I'm just there to facilitate that. Okay. I'm there to help them. So that's how I handle things. I always bring an onion, like I said, and an onion has many layers. Like I said, we have to get to the core of the situation and such like that. And so it's very, very important for me. And so a lot of times, a lot of spirit groups, I don't like to call them ghost because you know what? Oh my God, we're not hunting anything. We're not, hunt to me has a very negative connotation to it. My father was a hunter. He went out and, the deer and all that and everything.
Right.
But for me, it is investigating.
Yes.
It is, And also people must realize that there are millions of spirits around us every day of our lives.
Right.
Doesn't matter where you go.
Yeah. It does.
I always tell everybody, look, you really don't have to investigate because if they want anything to do with you, they're going to get your attention.
Yeah.
Oh, amen. Yes, you're very, very correct. One thing, I don't go to Walmart anymore because
oh my God,
negativity and all the bull crap. Oh my God. I mean, if I have to go to Walmart, I cover myself with white paint. I cover myself with white constantly because the negativity and all those damn psychic vampires. Oh my God. There's more psychic vampires in Walmart than there ever has been on like the old Dracula movies with with Bela Lugosi. Really, I mean, it's just horrible there. I hate to go there, but anyhow, sometimes I force myself.
Yeah, it's not on my top list either.
No.
So God bless people that go there, and I understand that people have to go there, but it is very seldom that I do go, and if it is, I rush in, rush out. I cover myself. I turn off the spirit world. But you know what, my friends? There are some times that my angels will say, Robert, you need to go talk to that person.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, in Walmart, oh my God, they're going to pull a knife on me. They're going to shoot me, whatever, you know what I mean? And so I always listen to my angels. My angels are like my gut. You know what I mean? People always say, listen to your gut. And we should more. You know what I mean? And so I will, and I'll say, excuse me, I'm a psychic medium, and this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm sensing.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them are very, very open to that.
Right.
And then others will tell me that I'm demon possessed, And that's I said, well, okay, well, God bless, have a good day. And then I rush my ass out of there. You know what I mean? So
I know exactly what you mean.
The line is long.
Yes. So those are the things that I do within the paranormal field. Past life regression, which is very, very important to me. For me personally, I have lived many lives. And how I know this is because when I was a kid, I loved old ancient Roman movies. Okay. I love that so much. Every time I heard like the screams and the gladiators and all that crap and everything, I was right there. I was right there experiencing that. And so and then I've lived like 6 different lives. And so one of the psychiatrists that I worked with, that we were in private practice together, her name was Dr. Denise Shervington, and she's Jamaican. And so I learned Jamaican spirituality and such. She is the one who taught me about past life regression, and she regressed me so I would understand what was going on. So my brothers and sisters who are listening to this, if wherever it could be music, it could be a smell, it could be anything, that more times than not, you have lived during that time period. If you feel very comfortable, you have learned, you have lived, or if you're very scared, you have lived during that time period. Now, there is, like in the fall, I was born in November, and I like to go like here in Taos and just go through the forest and everything, go horseback riding. Well, when I step on a twig, especially in October and November, all at once I am back with a Franciscan. I was a Franciscan monk during that time, and my sandals. So I walked over a twig and it snapped. Even today, that when I hear this snap, when I walk on a twig, it takes me back there immediately.
Yeah.
It does, And so we all have lived past lives. And the meaning of life is that if we have to learn the lesson in our lives. And if we don't learn that lesson, we will continue to come back. Do I believe in reincarnation? No, I don't. What I believe is that our spirit comes back.
Right.
Okay. To go on this journey. And thank God that I learned my lesson in life. Oh my God, I can't go through another life, besides this lifetime. You know what I mean? That's it. When I leave this earthly dimension, I have always said that the greatest journey that anyone will begin is when we leave this earthly dimension. It is the greatest journey, the more experiences, everything. So I'm looking forward to that journey. I won't hasten my death by no means, but I'm looking forward to that journey. I really, really am. So now you know things about me and what I do. And my life is, some people would say, Robert, you have a complicated life. No, 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 no. We make our lives complicated. We do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Life is hell at best. So we have to grab the gusto while we can,
Yeah.
There's so many people out there that they have very low self-esteem. They don't love each other. They don't love themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people have been sexually and physically and spiritually abused as a child, and they have stuffed all this anger and frustration and hate down deep inside. And they think they've stuffed it well, but a lot of times it will begin to rear its ugly head. And if there's any, and a lot of times what happens that people have that stuffed all this anger, frustration, hate, all the things they have been through as a child, they stuff it. More times than not, it's almost like a perfect storm with them within the paranormal field because of all this energy, with all this crap that's going on with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. They can manifest their own paranormal activity.
Right.
Mhm. Very much so. Can I ask you folks a question?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, how did you folks get it? Now, before you folks were together individually, did you have your own experience within the paranormal field?
Yes.
Yes. All my
Okay.
life.
Okay. And for you, Billy?
It all sharpened up for me after an NDE when I was a teenager. I was dead for 10 minutes and they brought me back. And after that, things were different.
Oh, I see. And so then Billy, did you first go to someone and say, listen, I have these abilities or what?
No, I didn't.
I see. So then you did. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
People would witness me do things or it would kind of be dropped on them at the moment that something would happen.
I see.
You know,
Okay.
but I don't go out and talk about things that I do because I'm always doing something different, you know.
I see.
But yeah, it began for me as a teenager.
Okay. And Tanya?
All my life.
So it
I
started.
remember being born.
Okay. So that's always interests me to hear the backstory of people who are on these podcasts and everything,
Yeah.
to see how they got into the paranormal, and
Yeah.
so each of us can learn.
We're experiencers.
Yeah, I'm no better or greater than anyone else,
Yeah.
and so I can learn. And also, I was telling Billy earlier that when I see all these shows, I don't watch these paranormal shows hardly anymore. They just drive me freaking nuts. They do,
Well, I mean,
And
it's mostly for entertainment purposes only now.
Yeah.
We know this.
I never watched him until I met him.
Oh, okay. Blame it on him now. Blame it on the man. Okay.
Well, I mean, it was always there. It didn't matter where I went. It's just always there. I never felt the need to watch a show. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And so when I hear somebody say underneath their picture, whatever, EVP expert, bullshit. There are no experts within the field because it is not an absolute science. It's
Right.
not.
Right.
And science will never credit it if they can't measure it.
Right.
Amen. That is very, very true. It is, And so when I hear these people, oh, I'm an expert doing this and doing that. No, please, give me a break. Give me a break. And there's so many damn egos out there. Oh my God. Egos are off the chain within our paranormal community.
They are.
People talk about paranormal community and unity and that, and God bless them. I believe in that. But there are so many people out there that are doing things because they want to be on A&E or they want to be on the travel station. They want to be the next Zach Gabin. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of it's theatrics on TV. People have to realize that it's for entertainment. It is.
Right.
So you folks are quite correct, I know people have become obsessed with watching those shows. They have become obsessed with EVPs and all this evidence. Oh, look, I see an orb. Oh, hell. Orbs are around us 24/7. They don't have to be at nighttime. They're around us. All this energy is around us all the time.
It is.
It is. And I always say if it's haunted 24/7.
The thing of it is you don't have to go to a haunted location.
No.
Like you said, you can go to Walmart.
Right.
You can go to the gas station. You can just drive down the road. Or in their house. They're everywhere.
Right. They are. And so just like with me being in Taos, New Mexico, and riding horseback with these shamans, Navajo and Hopi, wonderful men, really. They are quite learned. They really, really are. And just being in the forest with them, going through the mountains on horseback, there's millions of spirits, you know. During that time, they have always told me to open up, the spirit world when I'm with them. Okay. And I have experienced so much. Now there's something called the Taoist hum. Have you ever heard of that?
It sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there is like a low, some people, only about maybe 5% of people in the Taoist area, people who come to visit or people who live there, hear this hum.
Your home.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people go crazy with it because they just can't get it out of their ear. Okay.
Yeah.
And the Navajo and Hopi shamans told me that it is Mother Nature talking to them. It's the vibrations of the earth talking to them. We don't understand the hum because the people who go to the doctor, they get on medication and all sorts of things. If they would just accept the hum, you know,
They're just afraid there's something wrong with them because they're hearing it all the time and it's driving them nuts. Yeah.
Right, right. And the only time I hear the hum is when I'm with my Navajo shaman friends and Hopi friends. It's the only time I hear that. And it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me because knowing that it's Mother Nature, it's the earth and its ancestors, its history talking to us,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
you know? So I tell people, don't be scared of it. You know, embrace it.
Everything has a frequency. I mean, it's
Yes, so very much so. And so being out here in New Mexico, I have learned so very, very much, experienced so very, very much. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful time here. I'm here in New Mexico to recuperate. I don't like to talk about things, personal things, health issues and such, because I'm here to help other people. Okay. I don't want people to say, oh, Robert, I'm praying for you. Thank you for your prayers. I don't need the sorrow. I don't need, whatever. Because I am here to help other people. And,
Right.
So, but anyhow, just being here has refreshed my soul.
we are thrilled to have you. In fact, we've got a question from Sky Ray.
Yes, we do.
Oh, Sky is one of my bestest friends. She has written this beautiful, beautiful book, and I know that I had talked to her earlier, and it's called Find Your Voice in the Darkness by Sky Ray. My brothers and sisters, if you want to read a good book, get her book. It is excellent. It's excellent. What is the question that my spiritual sister, my Italian beautiful spiritual sister had? What is it?
She wants to know, what's one of the questions you get most frequently from clients with paranormal issues?
Are they relatives? Are they relatives of mine? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She says, what's the one question you get most frequently from clients with paranormal issues?
And that would make sense.
Mm-hmm. They'll say, like, why is this happening to me? That's the first one. The second one would be, oh, maybe it's my Aunt Tilly. You know what I mean? Maybe, maybe it's some relative and such like that. Sometimes it is Aunt Tilly. Sometimes it's not. It could be the land. It could be the house itself. It could be a lot of things, many, many things, So those are the questions that I get. Why is this happening to me? Why? Right. And so going with them on their journey and explaining those things. And again, like we've talked about before, that I come from a psychological side also. And so, like I show this onion, like I said, we got to get to the core of the situation. What is going on with you? Because more times than not, there is going to be an upheaval in one's life. It could be something dramatic. It could be something like a death, a suicide. It could be a change of job. It could be many, many things. Okay.
Right.
So those are the types of questions. And also they'll say, how much do you charge? They ask those questions too. And let me tell you that I don't charge for anything. I don't. My gifts and talents come from God. Okay.
Let me ask you this, back to your profiling career.
Right.
Did you ever use your gifts in the field? Did it help you out?
Certain times it has. Certain times I opened it up. It was only the director and a couple other profilers knew who I was and what I did. Okay. And so a lot of times I kept it under wraps. Also, you have to realize that forensic basically means is medical technology taken into the courtroom. That's what all forensics is all about. Okay. But on the other hand, if I would say in my report, oh, this person, I saw this person in an apparition, I'd be in a nut house. You know what
I
I mean?
totally get it. I totally get it.
Like they would be profiling me for God's sake. You know what I mean? And sometimes I did, but I kept it very, very quiet.
Typically, it would steer you in the right direction.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But you know
Now-
what? More. But you know what? No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The next question I had for you, talking about the children of the paranormal. How do these children come to you, and what? How do you help them in what ways?
Okay. Because of the podcasts that I've done over these years.
Mhm.
Okay. And that I talk about helping children and my experiences and my own experience dealing with what I was dealing with paranormally, right? And so they will hear me on a podcast just by word of mouth. And I would get my telephone number out, and these parents call me frantic. They don't know what to do. Like I said earlier, that their children are doing horribly in school, they're acting out at home. This is what they're experiencing, or they say they are. Oh, my child has an imaginary friend, and he's 10 years old. Is he ill? What's going on?
Right.
So I get with these families. It doesn't matter where they live. I will get the money together and go there to visit with them. Okay.
And that helps with your psychology background as well.
Right. And it does
Yes.
very much so. Yes, it does. So when I go talk to the parents, because I want to be there, I want to see them. I want them to see me. Okay.
Right.
I want them to be comfortable with me. This is what I do. This is what I don't do, and those types of things. Right. And just getting their stories, it's just like if you go to a doctor, the nurse comes in and says, what? Well, how you been feeling in the past month? So, everything's, written down. And so for me, I need to hear their backstory also. What's going on within the family, those types of things. And these families are really, really hurting. They don't understand their children. And then I will speak to the child. Now, I must tell you that all through this, the parents are always in eye shot and earshot. The doors are never closed. Everything is very, very transparent. Okay.
Right. But those kids having an outlet and somebody to talk to that will listen to them, a lot of that takes a lot of weight off of them to have somebody that understands what they're going through to help them through that.
Right. And it does. It does. And a lot of the children, they will be so happy that I've come because I understand them. A perfect example is that there was a girl named Brianna, and she lived in Chicago area. Her father was a corporate lawyer. I lived in Missouri, which is like 150 miles south. Anyhow, he sent a car down to get me, went to their house, a gated area and all that stuff. And they were ready to send Brianna to a psychiatric hospital because of her abilities, she could move things. She could move things from one place to another. Their parents saw that. They didn't know what was happening, not at all, and other things. And so talking with them and then talking to Brianna, I wanted to see this for myself. I sensed and felt that she had, gifts and abilities. I wanted to see it for myself. So I went to another room. She stayed in her room, and I asked her to move a specific object in front of me, and she did.
That's awesome.
And so when I went back to the room and talked to her about her abilities and what else that she could do and such like that. And also you have to remember that some of these children, yes, they're young. Some of them are pre-adolescent. So they have all these hormones and all this energy going on. Right? And all that energy, if they don't have an outlet for it, it's just going to, you know what I mean? It's going to come out in different ways.
Right.
But anyhow, Brianna's doing beautifully now. These children, especially the young ones, I have a love for all of them, but the little kids who have been pushed away, who've been bullied, who started to stutter like I stuttered as a child.
Right.
Okay? And to have these children, talk with them, and talk with their parents. We always go to different places as a group to see their abilities. And these children now were networking. Now with Zoom and StreamYard and all these other platforms, right? These children, because of COVID, we were not able to meet, but we streamed like what we're doing now, right? So everybody got to see everyone, and that was wonderful. The children have each other's telephone numbers, their parents do, and so it's just wonderful. So these children went from the abyss into the light.
Right.
Their parents may not totally understand it, okay, but they're very supportive of their child.
Right. And then they've got other kids, that they can talk to that help them understand too, that they're normal in their own way.
Right. Yeah. And each child has their own specific ability to one degree or to another. One little boy sees ghost dogs.
Mm-hmm. See, and I always think it's like a fingerprint. We all do things similar, but we all have our own unique ways. Right. And I love talking to people and learning how they do things because we're all different.
Right. Yes. And so that's why we say that no one is an expert out there. No one is. Right. We have our own experiences. We have our own things going on in our lives, And so with my past history and my journey, and granted, I learn things every day. A couple of days ago, I was on a podcast and I learned more about Bigfoot. You know what I mean?
Well, that's going to lead to my next question for you. Do you just pick up on the spiritual side of the paranormal, or do you pick up on other areas of it as well?
Do I believe in Bigfoot? Do I believe that there's objects out there? Do I believe in Mothman and those types of things? Of course I do. Anything is in the realm of possibility. Okay. Mm-hmm. Do I want to see a Bigfoot? Oh, you betcha. Oh my God. I really, really do. I do, And so I connect with nature even more now being here in New Mexico. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And out here. And so I connect with nature more. And I love to talk to animals. Probably within the last year or so that I have been talking with more animals, like little birds will come up.
Yeah.
Squirrels will come up and look at me and I will say good morning to them. How are you? And everything. So we have this connection, And so I feed them and whatever and tell them to have a good day, if they need anything, So I'm there.
We've got the squirrels too, but I think they just come to antagonize me.
Oh, is that
Yeah, I've got a couple of palm plants on the back deck, and I swear I cannot keep them out of them.
Oh, I see.
But I do have a cardinal that comes out and sees me every time I step outside. He pops up.
Yeah,
see, I like the squirrels.
Oh,
with the squirrels.
I just let the pugs out and tell them to get the squirrel.
Oh, but that's just wonderful that if people would just take the time. Put the cell phones down, put the computer away, and just listen to nature. Yes.
Just listen.
Yes, okay. Just listen. Go ahead.
I have another question from Lars. He would very much like to know about regression therapy.
Okay. Like I said, Denise Irvington, a psychiatrist from Jamaica, regressed me. And she taped it. She videotaped it and all that. It just didn't happen. It just doesn't happen in one session. Oh, there's many sessions. There's many sessions. And so with me, I do past life regression. People who are suffering from severe depression and who have panic attacks and stuff like that have severe anxiety. Now, I must also say that I converse with their medical physician. I really do. I don't want anybody to stop their medication. Not at all. Okay. Right. But I talk to their physician with them and say, let's try this therapy to see if that would help. Right. And a lot of times the physician will say yes. Sometimes they're very skeptical about it. But in most, they will say, this person needs help. If you can help them in the therapy that you want to do, go for it. Okay. But again, I am no doctor, not at all. Okay. So I never tell anyone to get off their medication, go to their physician and such like that. I will go with them. And like I said, it takes a long time. It's just not one session. And I know a lot of the clients that I have insurance, but let me tell you, when that insurance runs out, I don't run away. I will continue to be with them because I started something and I'm going to be with them for their entire journey. And so again, trust. You have to build up a trust. When I hear these people, oh yeah, I do, past life regression on somebody last night. Well, did you know them well? No. Oh, please give me a break. It is difficult. It is difficult for anybody to do past life regression if they don't know the person really well, because you have to have that trust. The client has to trust you and such like that, right? A lot of people will say, well, after you hypnotize me or whatever, they go in this mumble jumble stuff. Will I bark like a dog? No, you're not going to bark like a dog. You're not going to, you're not going to bray like a mule or whatever like that. You're not going to cluck like a chicken. No.
That's TV.
Yeah, it is.
Entertainment purposes only.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with that. But for me personally, like they signed waivers and such, okay, to protect myself and to protect them. They also have to agree to have a videotape. Okay. I want them to look at this later and see themselves and to hear themselves. It's one thing about me writing it down and everything and telling them, but they need to hear it themselves. Okay. And so that's what I do. And it works beautifully. I have been with 7 clients that I've had that it has worked beautifully. It really truly has. And again, now these individuals are not on any medication whatsoever. But again, that is their doctors. Okay. We go back to the doctor. He runs all these tests and everything like that. The anxiety is almost gone. If it hasn't disappeared, they know how to control it. They know what to do when they begin to feel panicky, and I've taught them how to deal with that. Okay?
Right.
Because if we don't know our path, how in the hell do we know where we're going to go and what path to take?
Right.
We won't. So it is very important, especially those of our brothers and sisters who are dealing with very, very, very bad depression and anxiety, to find out what has happened in the past.
Mm-hmm. What's caused that?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. Okay, I have another question from Cheryl Gibson. She wants to know, do some spirits seem more human than others? Like the ones who don't know they've died?
It's just like the little boy Matthew, right?
Yes.
Matthew didn't understand that he was dead. He didn't understand where his parents went, And so there's going to be those spirits who wander the earth for millions of years, right?
Mm-hmm.
They know that they're dead. They could have died. They could have died in an accident, or they died very fast and such like that, right?
Right.
And so they had no idea.
Now, do they ever seem more like us, solid? Do you ever have some?
I have only seen 2 or 3 solid apparitions that were looking for help, that were looking to be crossed over, looking for someone.
Right.
Others, I may feel a touch, I may feel their hand, I feel their presence. Okay. I feel their presence. Sometimes I see them, sometimes I don't. Mm-hmm. I believe in my experience that I probably have seen more children in apparitions in one form or another. It may be their face, it may be entire body. You know what I mean? Okay.
Yeah. Now, do you cross over these spirits if they ask for help?
Oh, very much so. Yes. Oh, I do. It's like with Matthew. Yes, I do. I cross them over. And yet, what stops them sometimes is because they're scared. They're scared. A lot of times also is that the living their living relatives keep them earthbound because of their severe grieving.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this: with these children, do you often find that it's a hereditary thing?
Oh, when it comes to the paranormal,
Mm-hmm.
yes, their parents may not have it, or if they do, they're closeted about it. But grandma or grandpa, great grandma and grandpa could have had it. Okay. A perfect example is that many years ago, I volunteered. I volunteered in the Appalachian Mountains of Eastern Kentucky and Western West Virginia. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
the mountain people are beautiful. Oh my God, their spirituality and they're down home. And I never had grits before them, until I met them. Grits and greens. I didn't know what a green was except for green stamps or whatever. But anyhow, but just to know these people and to know the mountain ways and their own spirituality, not religiously. Granted, I did go to several Pentecostal churches that dealt with snakes and all that stuff, and that was creepy as hell. But anyhow, what I learned from the mountain people would just open my eyes to a new world because their spirituality, they don't use the word paranormal, they
Right.
just use the word spirit. Oh,
Right.
grandma's behind you. Or they sent something. And I know that I talked to this woman who was in her 80s or so, and her mother was very gifted, and great grandmother was. You know what I mean? So do I believe that people generations ago do have some type of abilities? Yes, I do. But on the other hand, there are people that are just born with these abilities for some reason.
Right.
I personally believe that we all have these gifts. It's just some people haven't tapped into them yet.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And that,
Well, they
and that
choose
is where, yeah,
and then a lot of people, I mean, it just hits them like a freight train.
right.
It's just
Mm-hmm.
one thing after the other, and those are the ones that tend to, they tend to come looking for help because
Right.
they're not quite sure what they're experiencing.
Mm-hmm. And
Uh,
Yeah, and I think TV has put a lot of labels on things that, I mean, the way I grew up, we didn't call things what people call things now. It's
right.
weird.
It
So,
is. It is. And there's a difference between magic and the paranormal.
right.
Magic is something else. I don't know. I know of magic.
you're watching this hand, but something's really going on with this hand.
Right? Yeah. Amen. And so I learned, I'm still learning, about magic, different types of magic and such like that. A lot of practitioners use magic and God bless them. I don't personally. Um, and so I think that's a very useful tool also. But one has to be, if someone is gifted in any ability, that we must use those wisely and
Right.
appropriately. We should never go to the dark side with that. Granted, kids will play with Ouija boards growing up and all this crap. They'll be drunk, they'll be high, whatever. Okay. But at that time, they have no idea what they're getting into. They don't. They will open a portal of their home. And if they don't know how to close it, which they usually don't, and then it follows them for a long time. So the question is, do we all have abilities? I believe that we do. But again, because of damn technology, you know, I'm at that age that played outside all the time. We didn't watch TV all the time. And I'm sure, Billy, I'm sure that people who live in Tennessee and Kentucky and the folks that I met in the Appalachian Mountains, their kids are outside all the time, you
Yep.
know, hanging out with nature. They were tadpoling or whatever they call that, frogging or whatever. And, and picking up
Guilty.
snakes. Do what now?
Guilty.
Guilty.
Oh,
Been there, done it all.
Well, I mean,
okay.
what we had back then was TV. I mean, there was like what, Atari 2600, but I mean, hell, we stayed outside.
We didn't have cell phones, and
You didn't come in the house until it got dark. That's just
Right.
the way it was.
but I think back when we were kids, that was beepers. I don't know if everybody remembers the beepers.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
those,
I didn't even
that
have
was
one of those.
that was the high tech stuff that was coming out during that time. But yes, I mean, we did a lot of nature stuff when we were growing up.
I never had that stuff.
Let me ask you this: being
outdoors.
there with your shaman friends, your Native American friends,
Uh-huh.
are you learning shamanism? Are you practicing the Red Road? What's going?
No, I am just in the early stages. Okay, just meeting with them. I wanted to hear the ancient stories because of course everyone's heard of skinwalkers.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay, and so I wanted to know for myself, from someone, from a shaman, and so, but just learning about skinwalkers. When I was at the homeless shelter, most of the folks who came to us were Native American, of course, because it was on the tribal land of the Navajos. And so they would talk about, I would go walking with them during the day, and they would say, Robert, over there's a skinwalker. And and all I see is a dog. But what they see is different. Of course, they see a dog, but they also see a human attached to that dog. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I learned by just their experiences, just being in Gallup, New Mexico, and and then but with the shamans, they were telling me the ancient stories of how it all got started, you know, and that is just fascinating to me. I can listen to them. A couple nights ago they had a big bonfire, campfire, and there were different shamans there and their families, and the kids were singing and dancing, to their native dances and such, traditions and everything. But just hearing that bun, hearing that beat of that drum, it takes you there. Before you know it, you're there.
Mhm.
You don't.
And I could imagine just being there would be, I mean, that's just a phenomenal feeling. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
Not like
know?
listening to a CD or things like that, just physically being there, being on the land and everything. It's just amazing.
It is incredible. And let me tell you that these people who have nothing, these Navajo and Hopi and Zuni, our brothers and sisters, they may have nothing, but let me tell you, they are full of joy. They are full of joy. They don't ask for anything,
Mm-mm.
not for anything, but they're full of joy, you know, and they don't ask for money, nothing like that. Now I must say there is a very high, horrible number of Navajos, especially Navajos, Hopi not so much, or Zuni not so much, but Navajos that are addicted to alcohol, and now they're addicted to meth. Okay,
Right.
and so that throws in just a different wrench into it all. You know what I mean? But the bottom line is, with our native brothers and sisters, just not in New Mexico, but in Tennessee. Tennessee,
Right.
there's Native Americans there. There was Native Americans in the Appalachian Mountains. If they
Mhm.
weren't 100% Native American, the folks there had some Native American blood in them and such. But just hearing the stories and just the ancient stories, as I say, you know what I mean? I learned so much. I learned so much about, people go to school, I'm educated, whatever that means, but you never hear about that in school. Never
Mhm.
do, so you have to seek it out. And sometimes it just comes upon you. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I am enjoying my stay out here. It's been a wonderful time. I've seen the best of humanity and the worst of humanity.
Right.
I've seen poverty beyond poverty. I have. The people who are in such severe poverty in the Appalachian Mountains or in a major city doesn't come close to the poverty that is here on the Navy, on the reservations and such, But again, just like the mountain people, oh, full of joy. They really are. They are just full of joy. They may
Mhm.
not, a lot of them have no idea what's going on in the outside world. They don't have a clue, and they're happy about that. And I
Yeah.
think, oh,
They don't
And they're
care.
probably
Yeah.
better off,
yeah, oh yeah, very much so. They
especially
have
nowadays.
Yeah.
some of them don't have any idea that's, like who's the governor or who's the president, because they're not worried about that.
Mhm.
What they're worried about is their own survival. And those survival skills that are learned by the mountain people, we can learn a hell of a lot from them. We really,
Absolutely.
I've seen where a lot more people are moving off the grid too,
Mm,
and doing more of that.
yeah, and a lot of those people are moving off the grid. God bless them, but they're going for a specific reason. They're
Right.
they're tired of technology. They're tired of all the bullshit. They're tired of everything. Also, what goes along with that in my experience working with the homeless, there are a lot of doctors and lawyers
Hmm.
who are homeless because they have gotten tired of the bullshit in
Right.
society.
Yeah.
Well, Robert, real quick, if you would, let everybody know how they can reach out to you, how they can get in touch with you, how they can follow you, if they have children that they would be interested in you working with, whatever it may be.
Yeah. My number is 309-213-0325. Again, 309-213-0325. I appreciate this. And if you have availability for me to come back on, that
We
I
would
will
love to have you back.
specifically. Okay. But can I give out some shout outs real quick?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. I'd like to first thank these folks have been wonderful, wonderful getting me back into the podcasting and such like that. The Midnight Paranormal Society, Mike and Maddie and Adam and Robert, they're from San Antonio. The Wizard's Table with Ken Allen, Jay Hill, Joe and Shannon Beyond the Woodline. Of course, Sky Ray, wonderful, wonderful person. Kyle, Cody Yates, just so many people that I could thank. And so I thank them with a prayer. Okay. But again, I thank you folks. I hope I've answered questions that you've asked me.
Well, absolutely. And we're
Yes.
going to have a ton more questions for you the next time we have you back on.
Sounds wonderful.
And I also asked Sky to post her book in the comments too. So if anybody's interested in getting that, then they'll know what to look for.
Okay. But again, thank you so very, very much. I know that I talk fast and I have a lot of other journeys that we can go into another time. Okay.
Absolutely. Robert, if you would stay in the green room for us and for all of our fans and everyone in the chat room, thank you so much for coming in and joining us tonight. You guys are the reason we do this.
Billy, can I say one more thing? I have to give condolences to the family of Christopher Sutton.
Yes.
Coyote
Chris. Rest in peace, brother.
Chris and I are from Illinois, but we never met each other, but we talked on, private message and such. He was such a most humble and compassionate man to his family as well as to his many friends and acquaintances. I have never known him not to help someone new in the field. Okay. And Chris, we love you.
Yes, I've seen it all day long. Everybody's, sending their condolences to him and his family.
Right.
Yes. So everybody prayers out, for Chris's family, and just pray that they get the healing, the guidance, and the comfort that they're going to need during this time.
Thank you for letting me say that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Stay in the green room for me. I'm going to close this out, and everybody please join us next week. I'm going to try really hard to have Bear here with us because I know you miss hearing him say "into the far."
Oh, I'd love to hear that.
But thank you guys. Once again, same time next week. We will see you then.
Good night. Love you, Michelle.
Night, guys.